There was a new circus in town. Ethan was invited by his friends to watch the show, so he drove to that place and was the first to arrive. It looked like he got there too early, as the place was pretty empty, just a few people sitting around, waiting for the show to begin. The stage was made of wood, and there was a big red curtain. In fact, that place seemed to be abandoned. It was in the middle of nowhere and a little far away from the city. It was dirty and poorly maintained. Ethan was already regretting having gone to that creepy circus. None of his friends had actually showed up. He was about to get up and leave when the curtains opened and a black and white and very strange clown came out. And just looked at the audience for a while and didn't say anything. What kind of circus this? He wondered. The clown even did some mimes, but it was not funny. Nobody was enjoying the show. All of a sudden, the clown stopped and started waving at Ethan. Without understanding what was happening, Ethan just got up and walked away. It was already dark. Ethan was angry. None of his friends had showed up, and that bizarre clown was in his head. When he was on the road, he couldn't believe what he saw. How did he get there so fast? Was it following him? That scene was the last thing Ethan saw before he lost control of the car. When he opened his eyes, he was in the hospital. He had lost a lot of blood and was weak. His vision was returning to normal, and he realized that the clown was there, looking at him, just waiting for him to wake up. He even got up and started smiling. Ethan didn't understand what was going on. It was all confusing to him, and he ended up blacking out again. This time, when he woke up, he saw several people, and they looked shocked. Ethan found himself upside down on a stage. He was the main attraction now. And that clown was holding a saw on his hand, ready to saw him in front of everyone. But before that, he revealed to Ethan that he wasn't really human. It was late. The streets were dark and empty. Skylar was coming back home from work. A cold wind forced her put a blue coat over her nurse's uniform. She used to take the same path every day, and nothing out of the ordinary has ever happened until that day. Upon arriving at the subway station, she noticed there was only one person in the distance, and that person turned as soon as she noticed her. This mysterious person stared at her from afar. Skylar looked closely and saw that it was a woman wearing a red dress, which she found a little strange because it was very cold. What made Skylar more confused was that she couldn't stop smiling. She didn't even blink. Her eyes were wide, looking at Skylar. and she had a huge creep smile on her face. In that moment, Skylar tried to ignore her, but then she got a strange message from a mysterious number. When she looked again, the woman in the red dress just wasn't there anymore. When she got inside the train, she looked back and saw that creepy woman. She was behind her with that huge, crazy smile. It seemed that she wanted to hurt someone. Skylar was nervous and thanked God she didn't get inside the train. Well, she sat down and realized she was completely alone. No one was there, and the train just didn't start. It just stopped, as if it wasn't working. That's when a backlight started to flick. But wait, was it that creepy woman at the back of the train? There she is. Was it some kind of ghost? Skylar was frightened because she didn't know what was happening. She got up and saw that woman again. She managed to get home that day, but she felt that the scary woman followed her and that something really bad could happen to her. After some time, Skylar was exhausted. She lay down and fell asleep. But during all night, she had nightmares. She dreamed about that creepy woman's smile, and eventually, she couldn't sleep well. The next day, after her shift, she took the same route. So tired, she didn't even remember the woman in red. So she arrived in the station, waited for the train, and once inside, she started using her cell phone. That's when she noticed two bare feet in front of her. A sulfur smell almost made her vomit. There was a person with her head down in front of her, and she didn't even remember seeing this person when she walked in. Harry had just arrived at the train station, and all of a sudden, he saw a strange woman, dressed as a nurse, with a huge, scary smile on her face. I had moved to a new apartment downtown. It was closer to my college. I was looking for a roommate to help me with the rent and the bills. However, until that moment, I hadn't found anyone. The apartment wasn't big, but that was not a problem. I didn't have many things. I just wanted to finish my college and move to a small city. I spent a good part of the day working and studying. I used to get home at 6 o'clock. Something that I really liked was watching the stars. I'm completely fascinated by the starry sky. That makes me remind of the city I was born. However, the pollution here didn't provide the same feeling. But still, it brought me peace and made me remind of my parents. So, with a good cup of coffee, I used to stay there 30 or 40 minutes every day. One day, I was there, watching the stars as usual, when I realized someone was watching me. It was really dark, but I could see two glowing eyes looking at me. I tried to pretend that I wasn't annoyed with it, but I was afraid. That's when I got the flashlight and pointed to the apartment. But that person just ran. However, I could see it was my neighbor's daughter. I didn't know what she wanted. Her family was mysterious, and to be honest, they treated the girl really bad. They practically ignored the poor little girl. After that day, I noticed that she used to watch me every day from her balcony. She looked at me like she needed something, like she wanted to talk or tell me that something was happening. I got a little concerned about it. Once I was coming back from work, when I passed by their door, I heard her voice and she was whispering something. It was like her voice was inside my head. I went to my balcony that day and didn't see her. I wondered if something was up. I was curious, so I decided to knock on their door. My neighbor answered. I lied. I told him I had no water in my apartment, and I'd like to know if he had the same problem. In that moment, I realized there were no pictures of the girl on the walls, and I didn't see her there. When I went back to my apartment, I couldn't think of anything else. In my mind, the little girl was in danger. I thought about calling the police. When I saw them leaving, that was my chance. So, without thinking twice, I decided to knock on the door again, because I didn't see the little girl with them. I knocked, but the door was already opened. I got in, looked everywhere, but I didn't see the girl, which made no sense, because I didn't see her leaving. I was about to leave when the light in one of the rooms started to flick. It was the little girl's bedroom. I heard some noise coming from the closet, and when I opened it, I saw something that scares me every time I think about it. What are you doing here? Well, maybe you don't believe the story I'm about to tell you, but I see it from the bottom of my heart. I'm not lying. It was the day I saw a priest perform a real exorcism. My friend and I were interviewing a priest, and we were asked to document everything. We went on a farm in a really small city in Ohio. The priest told us to take off all the rings, cell phones, and everything we could carry that would be a risk to us, and put them in a bag, and leave the bag inside a wooden hut that was in the backyard of the house. Well, I wasn't scared or anything like that. I was just curious to see how everything was done. I had already done several studies on the subject, but that day was going to be the first time that I was going to witness the entire ritual with my own eyes. I met the family the moment I got inside the house. They took us to a room where their son was. Their daughter was there too. She was about 18 years old, and the boy who was possessed was 11. The little boy was on a bed, wearing his blue pajamas. And what really got me was that nothing that I had seen in the movies happened. There were no flying objects. The child was not writhing and vomiting. He just looked sick. The priest then started to perform the exorcism ritual. The boy stood still, looking at the priest. I don't think he even understood what was going on. After finishing the ritual, the priest was leaving the room when I asked, "Is that over? Is the boy free from the devil?" The priest told me that the exorcism ritual is a torture to demons, and they usually need 8 rituals to know the name of the demon. Only after discovering the name of the demon, they can cast it out. Well, he said that and left. I was writing down everything that happened in my notebook when the little boy turned to me and said, "Are you guys making a movie?" "Yeah," I replied. Suddenly, the little boy looked at my friend and said something that shocked him and left him wide-eyed. It was a secret that he kept under lock and key. He was speechless. How did he know about it? The boy kept looking at us. At that point, I turned to the little boy and said that we needed a name for a demon in our movie, and that movie would make that name famous. The little boy came up to me and whispered in my ear,
"Use this one."
Well, I just wrote down the name and passed it on to the priest. We were leaving when I remembered that we left our belongings inside the family's cabin. So I told my friend to start the car because I was going there to get our things. That cabin was used to store some old stuff. The place was dirty, looking like it was abandoned. I grabbed the bag, and when I turned, I got scared. Since the eldest daughter of the couple was at the door, she was a pretty girl with raven hair and hazel eyes. She was wearing a pretty blue dress, a white shirt, and a bow around her neck. She looked at me and said, "Take me with you. I want to get out of here. I can't take what is happening in this house anymore." Well, I said no, even though she was 18. I didn't want to get in trouble. She insisted, but I really didn't think it was a good idea. So I said no again and got out of there. When I reached my friend, he told me, "You won't believe it, but you know the daughter of that couple? She was here some seconds ago, asking me to take her with us." That was impossible. I had just talked to her in the cabin, and the way he told me, it looked like our stories happened in the same time, because all that happened in a short period of time. Well, we got in the car and looked at each other for a while, and with no answer, we just left. It was late, and that exorcism story had exhausted us, so my friend ended up taking a nap while I was driving. After a while, I stopped the car and said, "Can you drive a little?" "Why? Are you tired?" he asked. "No," I answered. "It's just the second time that girl appears on the road, asking me for a ride. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had agreed to take her with us." It was Saturday, Halloween Eve, and Andrew wanted to buy some pumpkins to decorate his house. He loved this time of the year. However, something unusual happened that day. For the first time, he was invited to go to a Halloween party. Well, that didn't make any sense, since Carol and Rebecca used to make his life miserable during high school. Although he was a little confused about their intention, he agreed to go. He went there at night, and the party had already started. He knocked. Rebecca, Carol, and Peter answered the door. They told him they were glad he came, and a lot of people wanted to see him. They also loved his costume. His costume was simply terrifying and real. A pumpkin head and some old ripped clothes were giving the feeling of terror. He was visibly scared, like he knew something was going to happen. "Come on in," they said. He stood there for a while, and without saying a word, he got in. "Guys, this is Andrew. You might remember him from Mr. Garrison classes." That was the first thing Carol said when they got inside the house. Time passed, and those young people were just having fun. But Andrew didn't talk to anyone. He was there, just watching quietly, and he was clearly scared. Carol and Rebecca even tried to fit him in, but during the conversation, he just did something unexpected. That's when he got into a cabin in the middle of the forest. He removed the pumpkin from his head and said that his collection was now complete. Mr. Garrison was a chemistry teacher who loved to teach young people and adults. One day he was walking back home. That's when he came across a missing person poster. It was a girl. As incredible as it may seem, he knew her. She was once one of his students. He remembered her. She was very smart. Mr. Garrison was very sad to hear that this young girl was missing. Many young people were suffering attacks, and a lot of people were just disappearing in that city. And he wondered if the police were doing something to change that. Mr. Garrison kept on his way. That's when he saw someone very similar to the missing girl. and she was staring at him from an alley. And indeed, she looked like the missing girl. However, there was something very strange about her face. She was grinning with a creepy huge smile. He tried to talk to her. "Are you okay?" he asked. But that figure just left. Mr. Garrison started to follow the girl. He walked through an alley and felt a horrible smell that almost made him bring his dinner up. He finally saw the girl at the end of the street. She was standing there, still, and looking at him. When he was about to talk to her, the smell got even stronger, and he noticed there were animal bones and a lot of garbage scattered on the floor. But wait. There was also a human skull. In that moment, Mr. Garrison was frightened. What kind of place is this? He thought. Well, he was about to leave when he got really confused. He didn't believe what was happening. He saw some furry legs sticking out behind the girl's back. They came out one by one. And in that moment, he thought that his life could be in danger. Her eyes shone in the darkness, and as crazy as it seems, several eyes appeared in her body. Then he saw something extremely scary. That girl turned into several disgusting spiders that spread all over the place. And when he realized it was too late for him, another huge spider was ready to attack him. And that's how many people are disappearing in that city. My friend told me this story. Emily was only 8 years old. It all started when I moved to a new house. It was a huge place with many rooms. On the first floor, there was this crazy and creepy painting of a creature hanging on the wall. My father immediately covered the picture with a cloth and put it in the attic. I chose a room on the second floor. I used to sleep alone, and my parents slept with my little brother in the other room because my brother was only a baby. The first night in the house, I heard footsteps behind my door. I thought it could be my mother, who was awake because of my brother. I was a little scared, but I decided to go there to see if it was really her. But when I opened the door, I didn't see anyone, and someone was in the attic. Well, I didn't pay much attention to that and went back to sleep. The next morning, I noticed that our attic was closed, so I thought that my father had gone up there to get something. During the day, that the house was not scary. Actually, I really liked living there. But one day, while my mother went out with my dad, they left me in charge of taking care of my brother. He was a good kid. So I quickly went to the bathroom and left him there. But when I came back, I just didn't find him. I heard him crying on the second floor. He was crying loudly, as if he was feeling pain. But how did he get there? I ran upstairs and I saw my little brother on the floor. I don't know what was going on. I was so confused. And why the hell the attic door was open? I held my little brother to calm him down. I looked into the attic and I'm not sure. It looked like someone or something was watching us. Later, my parents arrived and I told them everything. We went up there together because my father wanted to show me there was nothing to worry about, that it could be just a big rat, that's all. And there really wasn't anything in the attic, just a few boxes, tables, and that stupid painting. I decided to throw it away. But I accidentally stepped on the cloth that was covering it. And what I saw, it scared the hell out of me. The creature had disappeared. That scared me terribly. Now it was just an empty frame. My dad came running and said that I was on the floor with this painting by my side. That night, I convinced my father to burn that scary painting. However, that was just the beginning. This story happened in October last year, near Halloween, strictly speaking. The young couple loved to camp in the woods. They decided to take this adventure, even knowing that strange things were happening in that village. Some locals said they have seen some kind of a creature with sharp claws around the area. And in the middle of the way, Lucy thought she had seen something like a big bear. But eventually, she ignored that and kept on. At nightfall, they set up a campfire, ate some marshmallow, and told each other scary stories, lit up by a big full moon. Later, they went to sleep. The ambient sound of the forest did not scare them. In fact, they loved hearing that amazing sound that only Mother Nature could produce. But suddenly, they woke up with a strange animal howl. Whatever that was, it was close to them. Lucy was afraid. She could feel that some strange animal was getting closer and closer. That's when a big hand got Lucy's leg. She tried to let herself go, but that creature was too strong for her. Tony, without thinking twice, got his flashlight to see what was happening. He screamed her name, but could hear only agonizing screams. And when he got out of the tent, he'd wished he would have never taken that trip. One day a boy got lost in the forest. He wandered for a long time and asked for help, and eventually lost all hope of salvation. Then he saw something in the distance. He couldn't believe it. It was an old house. A light was burning inside. He got in the house. There was a bed and a table. The boy lay down on the bed without thinking twice, because he was so tired. As he got used to the light, he could see what it was on the walls. There were paintings hanging on them. They depict strange faces of strange people. Some creatures that appeared to be alive and looking at him. He couldn't sleep for a long time. Those creatures scared him a lot. But eventually, he finally closed his eyes and fell asleep. The next morning he woke up and saw a bright light. He couldn't believe his eyes. What looked like paintings to him yesterday weren't really paintings. They were windows. I was coming back from my girlfriend's house. It was late, and the street was empty. I didn't see anyone, because it was a Sunday night. Everyone was getting ready to start the week. I walked calmly to the elevator. It was so quiet that you could hear my footsteps echoing through the hall. When the elevator arrived, something really bizarre happened. A guy wearing some crazy clown costume was there. He was waving at me and laughing out loud. Well, I really thought someone was trying to prank me, or something like this, so I decided to take the stairs. I was really mad. I really don't like scary pranks. Going up the stairs, I decided to take a look down there. So I realized that the scary clown was following me. I got really scared. I looked down and there he was. But the strange part was that he was still. He'd stopped walking the moment he noticed I was looking at him, and all I could hear was his laugh. I don't know what was going on. Maybe that wasn't a prank, but some psycho trying to hurt someone. I tried to talk to him, but I got no answer. He was still laughing, as if that situation was a comedy show. I kept walking a little faster. Well, when I looked again, he was still following me. And again, he stopped the moment I looked, I swear. So I decided to stare at that creepy clown. 10 minutes had passed, and he hadn't moved yet. But then he just changed. Now he looked angry. Suddenly, he turned, climbed on the handrail, and simply oh my God, you have no idea how terrifying that was. I heard some noise coming from upstairs. That thing was there. That was impossible. I don't know if he was human or a demon. Well, I just went down the stairs as fast as I could, and I called the police.
21. Starting a card for a parking problem. And Foreigner 23.
When they arrived, they didn't find anyone wearing a clown costume.